Call of Duty Black Ops 7 isn't chasing high art or reinvention. It's gunning for pure, unfiltered fun, and it rarely hesitates. The 22nd mainline Call of Duty leans heavily into foundations laid by last year's Black Ops 6 and treats this installment as a wild companion piece. Its short and disappointing campaign, its expanded return to form zombies offering, and a surprisingly sharp multiplayer package all pull in different directions, yet somehow collide into something coherent. It's noisy, constantly ridiculous, and welcoming just to about anyone who picks up a controller. Where Cold War and Black Ops 6 flirted with espionage cinema, this follow-up swerves into something far stranger. Treyarch and Raven aren't trying to evolve the Reagan-era distrust this time, they're painting with surrealism of nightmares. Taking place in 2035, nearly 10 years after Black Ops 2, the co-op story once again puts David Section Mason in the hot seat. Mason leads the Spectre 1 unit as they confront yet another threat tied to Raul Menendez, whose legacy refuses to stay buried. Their investigation spirals into dealings of the Guild, a robotic corporation headed by Emma Kagan, and quickly unravels into a psychological trip steeped in a viral agent that drags soldiers through their own subconscious terrors. It's an ambitious setup with a clumsy payoff. The campaign mixes paranormal imagery and combat arenas that feel really out of place, yet somehow right at home. It name drops icons from the series, revisits iconic battles from previous entries, and waffles between pulpy TV thriller and self-serious sci-fi. It works when it leans into those close-quarter chaos moments, but missions boil down to two verbs: clear the facility or dig through intel. When a game swings this hard stylistically, the repetition sticks out even more. Black Ops 7 tosses out one of the franchise's longest running habits by swapping the usual single player story for a competitive PvE campaign. The Spectre 1 squad basically exists to justify letting up to 4 players blitz through the narrative together, though the game technically allows you to run it alone if you really want to. I played it alone, and it didn't take long to realise the campaign was clearly balanced around having all 4 slots filled. Part of the problem is the game simply refuses to supply AI characters to replace the missing teammates. If you're not running a full crew, Mason's squad mates literally vanish during missions. They continue yammering away on the radio like nothing's wrong, and then magically reappear in cutscenes as if they've been there the whole frickin' time. Strange still, you can't pick who you play as. Anyway, not that that really matters, because every squad member of Spectre 1 handles identically once the shooting actually starts. Across its 11 missions, the PvE story leans heavily on oversized boss encounters that feel like theatrical finales more than actual tests of skill. Most of them operate on a simple loop. Unload on the boss until it retreats into a brief flashy AoE phase, survive that, and repeat until the thing falls over. It's the same structure seen in other ambitious but flawed co-op titles like Resident Evil 6 for example. Nothing special on its own, but the whole experience gets infinitely better when you are laughing your way through it with a friend. And to be fair, there is a version of this formula that absolutely works. Whenever the game reins itself in, pushes you through tighter mission setups, throws disposable mobs at you, and mixes in quick puzzle beats, the campaign settles into a chaotic rhythm that is genuinely entertaining. But the momentum collapses once the game starts layering in rainbow-tiered weapons, absurdly tanky enemies, and boss fights that grow more awkward the longer they drag on. There is technically a gear progression system, though calling it that does feel quite generous. You begin with basic common weapons and gradually pick up rarer variants with additional attachments, kind of like a battle royale economy stitched into a linear campaign. The issue is the improved gear doesn't feel any better because the enemies are quietly inflating their health bars to compensate. You shoot harder, they just soak up more bullets and nothing really changes. And the enemy AI does the game no favour either. Most foes simply park themselves behind a doorway and wait for you to waltz in so they can jump out like some budget-haunted house actors. At long range they tend to freeze completely, letting you pluck them off like paper targets. In close quarters, some enemies bizarrely drop their guns to swing at you with their fists, even while you're unloading rounds into them. Fighting them never feels demanding, it often feels like they're politely queuing up for elimination. Once the credits roll, you can then dive into Endgame, Black Ops 7's extraction mode. Here, Spectre 1 is deployed to mop up what's left of the Guild, a faction that somehow survives the main plot despite everything you do. The loop revolves around collecting gear, knocking out assignments that boil down to timed enemy, clearing contracts, and extracting before you lose your haul. It's functional, but very much a repetition of the same beats seen in the campaign. Zombies meanwhile goes in the opposite direction, darker tone, narrower focus, and a return to the round-based tension without abandoning modern convenience. Ashes of the Dam, built as Treyarch's biggest round-based map ever, takes the open-ended sprawl of Black Ops 2's Transit and stretches it into 6 distinct locations: Yanis Tower, Blackwater Lake, Zarya Cosmodrome, and more, forming a loop that rewards exploration. The star of the whole mode, though, might be Old Tessie, a retro pickup truck functioning as a wonder vehicle. It can be upgraded, repaired, and under the guidance of Ted, effectively become the squad's fifth teammate as you push through the main quest continuing Black Ops 6's arc. You can tackle Ashes as Weaver's current crew or the classic Zombies cast. Three styles of play, standard, survival, and the new Curse mode reshape the experience dramatically. Curse strips away the conveniences like minimaps and preloaded weapons, turning the clock back to the Black Ops 3 era with an old school point economy. Vandal Farm, the solitary survival map, channels Liberty Falls style replayability with wall buys, Perca-Cola Gobblegum machines, and a vastly expanded augmented system boasting over 60 new bonuses. Multiplayer is where Black Ops 7 truly hits a stride. After years of franchise fatigue, from the ongoing sequel churn to the missteps of Black Ops 6 and Modern Warfare 3, this entry feels like Treyarch taking a deep breath in and listening. It's not the new matchmaking playlist or the don't think too hard about it gunsmith system that steals the spotlight. It's surprisingly the maps. Treyarch hasn't launched with a 6v6 lineup this strong since Black Ops 2 in 2012 in my opinion. Alongside revamped versions of Raid, Hijacked, and Express, the game delivers 13 new arenas that feel deliberately shaped by player feedback. Cortex and Scar offer up simple layouts and smart elevation changes. Blackheart and Flagship transform offshore work zones into chaotic but tactical brawls. Den, set inside a Japanese feudal castle, now retrofitted with futuristic tech, and Exposure, the obligatory Australian dirt map, come dangerously close to joining some of the all-time greats. A couple of weaker maps such as Retrieval don't derail the lineup, and even they prioritize clarity and readability over gimmicks like breakable windows or noisy environmental clutter. Weapons lean slightly toward the future without going full sci-fi. The game balances things out with a new objective mode like Overload, which feels like the midpoint between Uplink and Capture the Flag. The roster of 30 guns includes standout assault rifles like the M15, the Peacekeeper MK1, while SMGs such as the Dravic 45 and the MPC 25 push the edges of fairness. Treyarch will almost certainly need to rein them in at some point or face a sea of angry gamers on Twitter, but for now, it's a lot of fun. The new overclock mechanic spices things up by giving each piece of equipment 2 tiers of enhancements, like a quicker trophy system or decoy grenades that exclusively simulate footstep audio. They don't break the sandbox, but they do add tactical wrinkles that blend nicely with the returning weapon prestige system, back for the first time since 2018 and accompanied by prestige camos, special attachments, and a new prestige master tier featuring nostalgic skins like Bacon and weaponized 115. Movement also gets reworked. Omni movement returns from Black Ops 6, but tactical sprint seems to have been replaced with a wall jump technique that is surprisingly impactful once you get the hang of it. It allows players to peek corners and reposition aggressively, injecting some unpredictability reminiscent of the Specialist era from Black Ops 3. Treyarch has also nerfed rotation aim assist, now requiring proper right stick tracking for it to kick in fully, introducing a skill curve console players will absolutely feel. So, even with a campaign that stumbles way more than it should, and a few uninspiring mission beats and boss fights that feel out of place, Black Ops 7 manages to carve out a strong identity, simply by embracing variety in how you play. The developers' fixation on expanding modes might be hurting the single-player offerings, and their public stance on SBMM remains suspiciously PR-friendly while not really addressing the real issues. The studio does prove once again that they know how to craft a multiplayer and zombies experience that can pull people back in night after night. Black Ops 7 may not be the sequel fans imagined or wanted, but in the most Black Ops sort of way, it champions individuality and sets a bar that future entries will have to work to clear. Whether they will be up to the challenge though, that remains to be seen. I give Call of Duty Black Ops 7 a 7 on the 1-up scale. This copy of Black Ops 7 was provided by the publisher for review.